Munir Zulu right here on the Capital Breakfast Show. And guess what? He's here. A very hard man to get for a long time. I think we started in January.
Yeah.
Finally, we have you here. You're welcome to Capital FM.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a pleasure, and I think this is my first radio interview I'm having.
Really?
We are humbled.
I think we put in the work, the phone calls, the calling, the texting.
But yes, let's get right into the conversation, and we start with the hard-hitting questions. And it's obviously a statement that you made yesterday, speaking to how you endorsed Brian Mundwele. And we do remember that 3 weeks ago, which was the 21st of March, Brian Mundwele did visit you and asked you if you could join the movement and join him in the alliance. And yesterday you did come out to say that you have decided to join him. But you came out also to say that if you had a way, you would have gone for Honorable Katotowe as your preferred candidate. And now you were speaking to the Zambian people. How do the Zambian people then follow Brian Mundwele if you're not truly confident in his leadership?
First of all, I've had an interaction with a lot of politicians. A lot of them. And then I want you to get me right. Those of you that read the Bible says, ask and you shall be given. Brian asked me to work with him. Just that alone is good enough. He asked. Did others ask? No. So I don't want to labor this point. It's very simple. Ask and you shall be given. He asked, I've responded. He asked publicly, I've responded publicly.
So are you confident in the leadership and the policies that he's setting in place, or is it because he's the only vehicle at the moment, or are you joining him because you are equally confident that Brian Mundwele is up to the task to be president?
First of all, being leader of opposition is not an easy assignment. For the late President Lungu to have chosen and recommended Brian to be the leader of opposition in Parliament was not a small undertaking. That showed that there was confidence that he could lead. And in the Commonwealth practice, ordinarily leader of opposition is being prepared to be the next Republican president. That's what it means. Not leader of opposition by default. You know, someone just wakes up because I've got the state apparatus and they make you leader of opposition. No. Brian has been prepared to lead. And it's not about me. It's what I have seen and what I have heard. Brian means well compared to what we have today. And you friends in the media are not helping us. You know how long it took for the UPND to form government. It took them almost 23 years.
Yes.
Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has been leading UPND for almost 18 years. For him to be accepted, it took this long. But a product that easily sells is a good product. Brian hasn't been on the scene for 18 years, but his name is all over. It's a good product to sell. BM is a good product to sell. There are some people that have appeared on the ballot before BM, but they're not being considered as a political factor in this country today. So why should I waste time going to support a product that is going to last 18 years?
You said you spoke yesterday and you said you had an opportunity to join the UPND. Have they approached you? Have they approached you to join them?
I'm sorry to say this. They have this confused way of approaching people. Their approach is using the state police. When they arrest you, you join them, then that's their route. I don't buy into that. Threats don't move me.
But don't you think, I think you're talking about products that sell, and currently the UPND is in government. They are the ones who are ruling, and other people would say they have a more stable vehicle compared to what we are seeing as opposition. And you're talking about products that sell. Don't you think it's easier to then just shift towards the UPND than stay in an opposition that people might not completely have absolute confidence in?
Look, you see, we must avoid this temptation of talking about UPND in the first place, because it took them 23 years to form government. It took the PF 10 years to form government. It took MMD 8 months to form government. It took Edgar Lungu 27 days to become the Republican president. The UPND do know that they're not liked by the Zambian people from the word go. The only thing that made them form government was that Zambians were irritated by the Patriotic Front, not that they were the people's choice. UPND has never been the people's choice. Never. And they know it. They know it. And that is why they're bringing about rigidities at the Registrar of Societies for political parties to be registered. They fear competition. They think they're the alpha now that they're in government. But Zambians are resolved. They made a mistake and they're kicking them out in August.
Okay.
It's that simple.
As we get to conclude the Brian Mundubile issue and dive into some of the things that the government has done and how you feel they've worked so far, you're joining a leader who goes to an alliance without a political party. So he is chairperson of the Tonse Alliance, has no political party. Don't you think that is a very dangerous move in him joining an alliance without a political party?
No, there are so many political parties. There are so many political parties.
But he's
The
not
fear
president,
is
okay.
that, look, no. The fear that I have is that the current government is running a narrative that there is no political party to challenge them. Yet they're blocking people at the Registrar of Societies. The current government is running a narrative, and you, the Fourth Estate, are helping them run that narrative. There are so many political parties.
We're just
No,
on
wait,
the ground.
it's not on the ground. What is on the ground is that the Constitution allows us to associate. That's non-negotiable. Worst case scenario, we'll take him in as independent president. It's about if Zambians have accepted the product, they've accepted the product. One thing I know is that Zambians are not going to have a product that will not sell for 18 years ever again.
Okay, you're
Never.
tuned into Capital FM 99.7, and we have Honorable Munir Zulu in the studio. And very soon we will be opening the phone line, so you can be able to give us your comments as well as your contributions, even your questions. We are also live on Capital FM 99.7, our Facebook page, so you can definitely drop your questions there as well. Now, talk about the press briefing you had yesterday. And yesterday you said the young people should not buy into a government that is intolerable and a brutal regime. Do you believe that the UPND has been a brutal regime towards the young people and the opposition? And in what way would you consider them a brutal and intolerable regime?
You see, it's very simple. ECL was the most abused Republican president we've ever had. He was called all sorts of names, but we never saw people being picked, abducted for the so-called hate speech. That was tolerance, especially from young people that are on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. It's like in a home. Parents ordinarily tolerate the last-born child because they're growing up until they mature. You don't treat the firstborn in the same fashion you treat the lastborn. 6 months old can make noise in the house. It's normal. UPND is not that tolerant. They're not tolerant to divergent views. They're suspicious to any comment you make. In UPND, it's difficult to answer calls today, especially direct calls. I'm not the only one. But almost everyone is scared to make a phone call. No, they're listening to my phone, they will arrest me. But for what? What have you done wrong? Talking to someone has become a crime today. We are being followed by the state apparatus for talking to certain people. But I'm saying, I've had a relationship with these people before my politics. I've got friends. So I'm asking these young people, they should not be duped. I never won an election because of political parties. It was about the people. The people called upon me to represent their aspirations. It was not about constitutional amendments. So why should someone lie that you youths, we've amended the constitution to accommodate you? I was accommodated before the amendment of the constitution.
Maybe it's accommodation through appointment, and that's what they're putting.
That's not what we need. Democracy is about competing. It's not democracy if you don't compete. That's dictatorship. We're a democratic society, and the constitutional democracy for that matter. Who said democracy is about appointing people? It's only dictators that do that. Why can't you compete? Competition is healthy in a democratic society. So young people should not be duped. They'll be duped and they'll fall for this trick. And when they are told to amend certain laws and they oppose, trust me, they'll create fictitious charges on them and they'll go to prison. I heard someone yesterday saying there's no family in this country that has not benefited from the UPND government. I said, God of Abraham, Jacob and Isaac, help me. There are families that have suffered under this government. Chitotela, who is an SDA church elder, his family is suffering. I don't want to mention anyone else because I've deliberately chosen Ronald Chitotela.
Do you really believe that all those that have been arrested or prosecuted under the UPND might not have committed any crimes?
It's a topic for another day before we are cited for more offenses.
Okay.
It's the first time in the Zambian history that when you go to court, it's just procedural, but you know you're being convicted. We know what is happening to Brebna Changala. We know he's being convicted. We know what is happening to Bino Mpundu. I knew what was going to happen to me. I had the temptation of leaving this country, but I prayed over it. Here I am. There is no way judicial system can be this predictable that so long it's this group of people, it's a conviction. For the others, even murder suspects are given bail.
Okay. So you are still tuned into Capital FM 99.7. The number to call is 0773 792475. 0773 792475 is the number you can call us on. We are live on our Facebook page, which is Capital FM 99.7, as well as Smart Eagles. You can definitely add your comments and contributions there. We do have a caller, and we'll cue that caller in. Good morning, you're through to Capital FM 99.7.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Munir.
Good morning, thank you.
I think in the first place, I praise God that you're out of prison. But, Honorable, I've got piece of advice I would want to share with you. Let's compete on ideas. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not scared, not tribal, not bitterness. You know what I mean? I've got so many things I would have done so that energy, but I think I would not want to do that. Please, this is one Zambia, one nation. Shall we avoid the issue of bitterness, hate, and tribal remarks?
Okay.
That's what you need.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jimmy.
So that's Mr. Jimmy saying, no, let's compete on ideas and not bitterness. I think you've come out clear to say that you do not hold anything against the people that sent you to jail.
You see, when you've done something, there is no need for you to explain. You should pay attention to the systematic way on how UPND sympathizers labor to talk about tribe. You don't need to explain tribe if you're not tribalist. There's no need. There's no need for you to put emphasis on one Zambia, one nation, if you believe in the unity of or one unitary state.
Okay.
Take on this call.
Good morning. You're through to Capital FM 99.7. Your name and where you're calling us from? Yes, you're through to Capital FM 99.7. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yeah, I'm Sonda.
Okay, Mr. Musonda, what's your contribution for Mr. Munir Zulu?
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, thank you.
I think, sir, you did a very good movement, the electoral movement to join PM.
Thank you.
Almost every family has benefited from the UPND government. I think the there's offside. But these people only came with vengeance, nepotism, corruption. In fact, they are even running a threat to governance. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Musonda.
Jim, just agreeing to some of the sentiments that you have made so far on the show. And we do have another caller.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yeah. Good morning, Madam Moderator.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah. God bless you to receive 95%. The people of Rua Plus spokesperson Kapango. I'm calling from here.
Okay.
In Zingarumi.
Okay, in under 1 minute, you can give your question, comment, or contribution.
Yeah, 1 minute on the man of wisdom, Munir Zulu. When Chimbisha Chalo, Kanavesa, Tuatotera Pakumfua, Kweshuigenu, Kumare Tishale, Tuaniumfua, Ngava Kapangwa, then Wapula, Pare celebrate because you are a man of wisdom.
Ndivyo mtende natotera.
Okay.
Munir Zulu, ichalo kakuweko muleka kwa for the first time in the history of this country, ukulaka kapwa abantu bamubamunona kakwa. Ukusha kidnap member of parliament. Ipo mwakulinamo Munir Zulu, JJ Banda, the Easterners, and thinking, supporter, ama MDs, ya Easterners. Ichichalo wa Munir Zulu, mkesa baba Minister of Justice. Don't you worry, fighting.
All right. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
I think that's just an encouragement, but you can also just respond to those.
I think most of the callers were just appreciating what submissions are being made. But earlier on, the first caller, I didn't get his name. Jimmy made reference to say no hatred, no tribalism. And I'm saying, look, if you don't practice tribalism, it's none of you. The least things that should be on your lips. It's only those that practice it that are bothered. There is no need. We never knew this nonsense of what tribe are you. We went to schools, some of us that were privileged to go to international schools were in the same class with the Vlahakis, the Wazungus. All we knew were Zambians. There is no this nonsense that one Zambia, one nation. Why are you preaching it? Because you know what you practice is different from what you're preaching. But it's not a topic that I'm interested to have. I'm much more interested to tell the Zambian people that if you woke me up at 2 a.m., say, what did the previous government do right that makes you sympathize with them?
Yes, and I was getting to that.
Okay? I'll tell you two things. They had what they called NIMA, health care, so that the poor could afford to have medical access, which this government has literally destroyed. Second, the previous government had the concept of developing industrial yards in all the provinces so that you have enough fuel storage. In case there is a global crisis, you have enough fuel reserve. The Ford. Instead, you have a regime that commissions toilets. That's simple. I don't want to talk about the roads, the airports, the hospitals, just two. Nima and the industrial yards.
Yes, and you've been a strong critic about the current government, the UPND. And I want us to look at some of the things they've done. Increment on CDF, you've seen it. They've also free education, which is there also that they are doing. And also today the president will be commissioning Mulungushi textiles. That's the previous government failed to bring into operation. So are you saying, from a standpoint of view, there's nothing that the UPND has done that you would say this is good?
I'm a realistic person. There's no country in the world that has developed as a result of CDF. Never. So, it's to reduce your thinking. If you are living in a 3-bedroom house, then you shift into a 1-roomed house, or what do you call it, bed space? Bed-sitter. Then you say you've developed. It's nonsense. There's no country that has developed as a result of CDF. Just like there's no country that has developed as a result of solar. We are reducing your thinking, and then they propagate a notion that this is a game changer. Are you sure Zambia has been buying land? Zambia police has been using Land Cruisers for the first time. They've always had Land Cruisers. From Land Rovers, they went to Land Cruiser hardtop, and it's not the first time buying a Land Cruiser. Land Cruisers have been known to be Zambia police vehicles since time immemorial. They were painted blue, now they are painted white and labeled CDF. What is the difference? It's a scam. Talking of
Free education.
Before I get to free education, the reopening of Mulungushi textiles.
Yes.
How many times are they going to reopen Mulungushi textiles? Again, it's just to confuse the Zambian people that they're doing something. They've done nothing. So they have to pretend to be seen to be doing something. They've done nothing. They've done nothing. Talking of free education, how many people take their children to government schools? Because there's no education at all. They're pretending to be educating children. How possible is it that pupils are exchanging books to mark each other? Teachers don't know the name of their pupils. There is no education. By the way, I can't take my children to a government school.
But the majority of Zambians take their children to government school.
We'll pray for them because it's poor education. I believe in quality education. We can't allow to produce a country with poorly educated citizens. Then we'll end up where we are. You see, there are some people that have gone to school and have come out well educated, well knowledgeable, well exposed. Then there are some people that just want to have a lot of doctorates on paper, but ask them to implement what they have attained from school. It's zero. Too much of everything is bad.
So are you saying you'd rather have a huge portion of the Zambian people uneducated and a small section that is actually receiving quality education?
Look, it's not about the quantity. It's a quality. I believe in quality. I don't believe in quantities.
Okay. I'll take you back a little bit. You talked about the reasons why you have sympathized with the Patriotic Front and some of the things that you have considered as development that the Patriotic Front brought to the Zambian people. But what's on the ground is the Patriotic Front were voted out of power and the UPND was brought into power. What are some of the things that you believe the Patriotic Front failed in and that brought them out of power?
Look, my saying I sympathize with the PF does not make me believe in the PF. I don't believe in the PF. But it's their policies. They made more sense than what we have now. The PF didn't know how to communicate with the masses. So their opponents took advantage of that. Look, the PF did so many good things, but they were condemned to cadreism. But today, we have a situation where you don't know who are cadres, because people just get abducted on the road, and then you only notified 24 hours later that no, these are policemen. So you don't know whether the cadres in uniform, unlike then we would know. Say these are cadres, so you know how to engage. But what we have today, oh wow. I've got 4 months, God willing, to live in this country. If these guys get it, I'll say I've done my part.
So you're leaving the country if the
UPND
wins.
I'm going.
What happened to fighting for the country through thick and thin? I'll give an example of our during independence. We had our founding fathers fight, even though it looks like there was no way.
You see, we were fighting foreigners, the imperialists. Now it's like we're fighting amongst ourselves, and I wouldn't want to fight amongst ourselves. Just like I ask my fellow opposition political players to say, why are you fighting amongst yourselves? Is it necessary? Let's work together. We've got to redeem the situation. These guys will come hard. After August, it's the story of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler went for 6 million Jews, and the world was quiet. They called it the Holocaust. Then they went for the Austrians. Again, the world was quiet because they were not Austrians. We are Zambians. Then Adolf went for the Soviets. Then the Soviets, working together with the Americans, said, no, we've got to put a stop to this before he comes for all of us. Here, they came first for Bowman and Malanja, and people said it's PF. They went for Chilango and Chitotela, they said it's PF, okay? They came for MZ and JJ Banda, who are independents, then people said it's politics. Then they went for the Archbishop. Everyone is now quiet. Next are coming for the journalist.
Okay, you're still on the Capital Breakfast Show, and we're having a conversation with Munir Zulu. And remember, if you want to pass in your contributions or your questions, the number to call us on is 0773-792-475. That is 0773-792-475. But also, you can call us on 0761-997-997. If you can't call us, do drop us a text message, and we'll get to read it right here on the Capital Breakfast Show. You speak to the opposition, and I want us to dwell in what's happening with the opposition, the confusion within the opposition. Looking at the time that is remaining, of course, you speak about how Brian Mundubele is a preferred candidate, and we've not seen many in the opposition coming back to back him or joining forces. Do you think if the opposition today say let's join forces, stand together, they would boot out the UPND government?
Look, it's not about the confusion in the opposition. We know it's state-created confusion. But when the time has come, there's no one that can stop it, an idea whose time has come. Whether there'll be 50 candidates on the ballot. But I know UPND is so scared of having even one candidate on the ballot. The time has come. Zambians have decided who to vote out, and they're voting out the UPND.
And you feel there's a wind of change?
They have oppressed people to an extent that people are quiet. They're talking silently. People are talking in graveyards, saying, you go for this funeral, it's a discussion. Had they allowed people to comment freely, they would have known that there is wind of change. But they have oppressed people's views. So they don't know what is happening. Trust me, I've spoken to MPs that have defected, by the way. I won't mention their names because I need to protect them. They're saying, Sot Sana, Chilafina. We don't know why we've gone this side. I've also spoken to UPND MPs. Oh, by the way, there's some very good people in UPND. Very good people. To an extent that they would send me money once I was in prison. And I don't take that for granted. Genuine people. There are some good people in UPND. Not everyone is bad. And they are not sending me money using pseudo accounts. They are personal accounts. I shall forever remain indebted, which some people in the opposition never did. So when I came out, I had to reach out to say thank you. and are telling me, ask your friends to get organized. We are not sitting well on this side. They don't know what will happen.
And do they tell you what the biggest problem is with the UPND? Why they're not sitting there?
There is no respect for divergent views internally. They're just told what to do and it should be done. That is the problem. I have avoided the temptation of saying this, but when UPND has decided to come for you, to crush you, they'll crush you. There is no negotiation. And similarly, you should make a decision to accept to be crushed or fight back. What am I saying? My elder brother, Hon Garry Nkombo, can change the political landscape with a decision he will make. His friends have decided to get rid of him politically. If he decides not to make a decision politically, he becomes irrelevant. If today Garry Nkombo decides to say, I'm going to work with that one, it's over.
You feel so?
Okay, you
I know.
strongly believe it. So if today Garry Nkombo chose to stand for presidential member or candidate, would you side with Garry Nkombo?
Let him make a decision, then I'll answer your question.
So you
shift to
No. Look, I'm on record. I've not said Brian is the best.
Yes.
He's not the best. But on the available options, let's work with him.
Okay.
Garry is not yet an option. So let Garry make a decision. Whether to keep mute and watch from the terraces, it's his choice. I've made my choice. But Garry will easily change the political dynamics of this country.
Okay. You're still tuned into Capital FM 99.7, and this is the place where talk does indeed get to meet vibe. The phone lines are open, and you can definitely call us and drop your comments, questions, as well as contributions. We have Honorable Munir Zulu in the studio. We are live on our Facebook page, which is Capital FM 99.7, as well as Smart Eagles. So you can definitely drop your comments, questions, and contributions there, and we'll be definitely able to read them. Do remember, as you call in, let's be respectful. Let's not attack each other and go straight to the point. Now, you talked about you being in prison and how that experience was like. Do you feel like the people that you looked up to in the opposition, or the people who you were with when you're not in prison, were able to actually back you up and help you even during that period of you being in prison and with you coming out? Or do you feel like they turned their back on you?
You know, political jobs are a service. And I encourage a lot of people that get into politics to know that it's a service. You should have a very strong family and friends. Politicians will escort you to court and escort you to prison. But those who visit you are your friends and your family.
Okay.
So if you don't have friends, don't dare get involved in politics, because you'll be on your own.
We do have a message before we get into it.
So we have a message, and this person says, Mr. Munir Zulu, which people have decided that they want to vote the UPND out? You say this, just say that it is your family and yourself that have decided to vote him out because you do not like President Hakainde Hichilema.
Look, I don't want to say who I like and who I don't like. That's not a topic of discussion. Okay, if I don't like him, and then what? Does it improve the economy? These conversations of saying you don't like him, he loves you, don't make sense. They don't add value to our conversation. The issue at hand is that we are a sick country. The economy is sick. Things are falling apart. Fine. Someone says, it's me and my family. Let me be a little bit satire maybe. I look at some cabinet minister, full cabinet minister, and this is not that it's a final barometer to measure how many people believe in me. I look at this cabinet minister with full of pomp. He's got 50,000 followers on his Facebook page, official Facebook page. And I've got 150,000 followers. So how can someone say, you and your family? How? Some cabinet minister is even running away from a constituency to go to the village. And then you tell me, you and your family, really? It's a bitter pill to swallow. They don't want to accept that they're gone. How possible is it that Binwa has 300,000 plus followers? If Binwa goes live on his Facebook page, he will easily hammer 7,000 followers within a minute. And the own president is struggling to get 300 followers. People are bored. So they should accept it, that it's a bitter pill to swallow.
Let me take you back a bit, and you speak to how this government has been brutal, and it's a regime that has been brutal towards political aspirants and all that. You spoke to how people have been abducted during this government. Are you able to provide any names of those you feel that have been abducted?
I was abducted. I don't need to labor to explain. Brian Munir was almost abducted the other day. Bowden Findlay was abducted the other day. JJ Banda was abducted. Waimi was abducted. Maybe because we are a little bit politically known figures, we don't know how many other private citizens have been abducted.
You're still on the Capital Breakfast Show. Remember, you can call us on 0773-792-475. That is 0773-792-475, but also 0761-997-997. When you came out and you are out, you said you are going to vie for the seat in Lusaka Central. We've not seen you do much work in that particular area, but you also said that that is a personal decision. Are you still vying for that seat?
Look, first of all, politics is an art. Calls for a lot of underground work before you get on your boots on the ground. There'll be confusion when my boots get on the ground.
Okay.
Don't think that my silence is not working. The moment my intentions get onto the ground, people also go to the village from Lusaka Central. I play golf in Lusaka Central.
But do you think you have enough time? The 2026 general elections are right around the corner. Do you think you have enough time?
There is about 3 months before August 13th. Edgar Lungu became president within 27 days. I don't understand where this problem of time is coming from. When it's your time, it's your time.
You believe it's your time?
I've never lost an election, by the way.
Okay.
I won an election as Nimpaso president in 2009. 2021, I won an election defeating the PF, UPND. Why should I lose when I've got the masses?
But are you going to give us an early by-election? Because you do say that if it so happens that this regime wins the election,
definitely
you're leaving the country.
No, that one is a definite yes.
If you win as MP?
Definite yes.
Are you staying or leaving?
I'm leaving.
But
even if you win as member of
Trust
parliament?
me, because then I would have not added any value to our political dispensation. And should my focus demand that it's better for me not to contest, but help BM form government, and I'm not on the ballot, I'm ready not to contest.
Okay. So it's more about the presidential seat than
Yes,
it is
because
about...
if we don't change presidency, we'll still go back to prison. Regime change is not parliamentary. We've seen how parliament can be abused. You've got a valid constitutional court judgment against Bill 7, but because the executive has decided otherwise and parliament is abused, they go ahead and amend the law. So I'm saying it's not about me. Yes, I've got the machinery to win Lusaka Central easily.
But yes, you're aware that you're not Edgar Lungu, because you speak to time. You say, no, Edgar Lungu won in the elections in 27 days, but you're different. You're not Edgar Lungu.
Those that have followed my political journey will tell you that there are those that mocked me. I campaigned in Lumezi officially for 21 days, not 27 days. I remember Ambassador Joe Malanji asking me at Bonanza to say, your friends are campaigning, you are playing golf. I said, but you're also campaigning and playing golf. I won that election. I read the time of the season.
But then others, we could still say that times are different. Back then the dynamic was different. Back then you had a certain level of people that were in power, that were in favor, that the Zambian people were in favor with. Now the times are different. You were in prison for a significant period of time. That may have lost some confidence that the Zambian people had in you. Don't you think all those things are active factors that might play a role in you not winning a seat?
In fact, the easiest times are these times.
Okay.
There is one member of parliament in his own constituency, goes to a church gathering and tells the bishop, nifuna kuuza abantu kuti nachoka MPF nikuya ku UPND, and the bishop put him out of the gathering, say, this is not the right platform. So this MP says, I can write a book, bantu batisula. These are the easiest times. I know they'll resist, but I can assure you, it's done and dusted. Lusaka is gone, Copper Belt is gone, Luapula is gone, Muchinga is gone, Northern is gone. I don't even want to talk about Eastern Province. For the UPND that don't want to listen to the ugly truth, if you go to Kitwe, how many members of parliament came back in 2021 from Kitwe? It was only 2, Malanji and Pavyuma. The rest of the constituencies, all of them were new MPs. Musukwa never came back from Chiriramambwe. Ndola, how many MPs came back? Everyone is new. Lusaka, here where we are, how many MPs came back? Everyone is new. Tasila Lungu, Mulambo Haimbe, Mike Mposha, Christopher Shakafuswa, everyone is new. Eastern Province, out of 19 constituencies, do you know how many came back? 2. Kazungula Sinda and Peter Piri Mkaika, all of us came back for the first time. So all these ministers that think they're coming back, they're gone. Chiteme lost an election. That's the ratio. In Muchinga, do you know how many members of parliament came back out of 18 constituencies? 3. Kalalwe Mukosa, Kampyongo, and Mngandu. The rest are new. So where are they getting this courage that they're coming back as all the members of parliament? They are gone.
Okay, let's get some comments and also some messages from our online viewers. And we do have a message for you. And he says, Mr. Munir Zulu, what do you think should be done to have Makebi Zulu join Brian Mundulile?
Well, I don't want to preempt that conversation because I know what is happening behind the scenes. Maybe I should give comfort to the Zambian people.
Yes.
I've led the way to working with Brian. I've opened the door. And starting today to the next 7 days, you'll see most prominent names working with Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, I just led the way.
All right.
Okay.
You're still tuned into Capital FM 99.7, and the time is exactly 9:28, and we will be closing the show soon. So do call us and let us know what your comments, contributions, and questions are. You can also send in your questions on our Facebook page, which is Capital FM 99.7, and we are live on Smart Eagles as well. The number to call us is 0773 792 475, 0773 792 475.
I want to take you back to what you said yesterday, and I want to ask you this. If today Honorable Katotogwe went on and said he wants to vie as president and as an independent president, would you then shift camp?
No. You see, in politics, it's not about personal choice.
We do have a caller. Let's just hold this thought.
Good morning. You're through to Capital FM. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Morning. This is Philip Ngambi calling from Solwezi.
Okay, Mr. Ngambi, what is your comment for today or question for Mr. Munir Zulu?
My publicity.
Munir Zulu, this is Ngambi, your colleague.
My former publicity secretary.
Zulu.
My turn.
This is an encouragement. The way you've come out, I want you to come out to say that supporting PML. No matter the way you've come out courageously, I think everyone needs to follow suit, including Baroki and everyone behind.
Vangambi, should I mention that when I suspended Celestine Mkandila as my vice president, you are the acting vice president?
You need to mention, people need to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Vangambi. And speaking to Celestine Mkandila, of course, he's also watching this live, and he does come out to say that you're giving out data, but he also says that trust the process. He is deliberate with what he's doing, and he feels MZ is the real deal.
You see, I'm glad that Philip called. You know, I was the president, Celestine was the vice president, then he was the accommodation secretary. So something administratively happened, and I decided to suspend Celestine Mkandila and brought in Philip to act as vice president. This is 15, 16 years ago. So we are not meeting by accident. We've got a background. Yes, some people push personal agenda. I don't do that. And I'm very certain, to respond to your question, that if Katoto were decided to go this route, he has respect for me. He respects the decision I have made. And I know he will also work with BM. I'm very sure. I'm very sure that even given Luvinda will work with BM. I've got no doubt whatsoever in my mind that Chimbakambwili is working with BM. I've got no doubt whatsoever. I've got no doubt that the church is working with BM. I've got no doubt that the Gen Z is working with the big. And I've got no doubt that my elder brother Makebi is working with us.
Okay, you were just listening to Honorable Munir Zulu, and we get to close and conclude our show today. But as we conclude, your closing remarks, and also just getting to tell us what exactly people should expect from you. Of course, you say you step your foot very soon in Lusaka Central, and the ground will shake. What else should they expect from Makebi Zulu, from Munir Zulu? Sorry.
One thing that is true is that we have problems as a country, which we must address. We can't have an economy that is sick. We can't have a country that has energy crisis. Our health is in a mess. And then, you see, the UPND are so predictable. They've even started going to private universities. If they're preaching free education, why are they parading the president with banners in private universities where we take our kids to? We don't want our kids to be diluted with politics. Universities are not grounds for political battles. Can we spare students from this nonsense? We can't have a situation where a student dies in a pool of feces and we say we are progressing as a country. Whoever has bewitched us, may God help us. A student dies, and then tomorrow you raise placards and say they've provided free education that will allow a student to die in a pool of feces, and it's normal. We can do better. We can do better. You cannot have a situation where the church has been silenced. The traditional leadership has been silenced. And what the UPND do not know is that we are all related as a people. What you tell this traditional leader will automatically come and tell us, say, abaya nwenzi bawera, balabira hivi na hivi. Romba hii natia ibaba Zulu. No, leka nwenwa uje tiala ndime muliko. Kuti mpurumuke. We know what is happening behind the scenes. That's why we don't condemn our traditional leadership. We just say, oh, tamvwa.
Okay, so that is it, and this is the closing of the interview, and we had Honorable Munir Zulu in the studio. If you just tuned in and you happen to miss the show, you can definitely go live to our Facebook page, which is Capital FM 99.7, as well as Smart Egos, and you can definitely be able to catch what he had to say on the show today. So this is The Breakfast Show with Esan Farai on Capital FM 99.7. Honorable, thank you so much for having me.
I'm humbled.
Okay.